Welcome, new and old friends. My name is 242, and today, 2 got us 5 glitch in the Matrix stories to help you question what really exists. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment, but you could always wait for that Sunday word for the comment. Now, turn off your lights, make sure your doors and windows are locked. Things are about to get spooky. Standing in the store's changing room wearing nothing but my underwear, I leant my hand against the mirror to pull off my shoes. I realized with a sinking feeling in my chest that there was no space between my hand pressed against the surface of the mirror and the reflection in the mirror. The Old Highway Glitch by AnimatedMajor. So this story is about 20 years old now. I'm 40 and I was 20 at the time. I remember it very clearly, as does my mother. We were on a trip from Utah to California, passing into San Diego. The trip has an overpass that we pass under, and we have made that trip 1,000 times over the course of my life. We always use the overpass to signify the start or end of the trip, depending on which way we are going. So this trip had been grueling. We had a lot of car trouble and had been harassed by the California border because they caught us with ferrets once a few years earlier. So they regularly demand to search our car in case we are smuggling wild animals. With that in mind, we were ready to get home. It was hitting sunset as we approached the city. We passed under the landmark overpass, and my mom sighed and said, "We're home." And I cheered and went back to listening to music. It usually took about 45 minutes from the overpass to get to our doorstep. After roughly half an hour of driving, we both started getting confused. We were passing under freeways that we wouldn't normally pass under. I started looking around to see if we had missed something when my mom said, "What is that?" And I saw something to this day that makes my head dizzy when I think too hard about it. The buildings around us were crumbling, and the freeways over us had like vines and stuff hanging from them. I audibly gasped, and my mom just started saying, What the F? What the F? Then it was dark, and we were on the freeway, and we were passing under the overpass, except we were going the wrong way, heading out of the city instead of coming in. My mom freaked out, pulled over, and started freaking out. I couldn't even think clearly. We both were just unable to cope with what we had seen or where we were. We realized we were missing a couple hours, and we eventually just said it was a shared hallucination and she had been driving in a daze because of a long day. To this day, we both can't explain what we saw or justify how we ended up on the freeway heading out of the city. I recently brought this up to my mother, and she got really quiet and said she remembered. Told me what she remembered, which matched my memories, and wouldn't talk about it further. She refused to speculate or discuss it any further than the cold, hard fact of, this happened, this is what happened, that's it. That was probably the craziest glitch I've ever seen. I just thought I'd share. Take it as you will, or don't. It doesn't matter to me. Despite the horrific abuse he inflicted on me and my sisters, I was glad when the doctor said my stepdad didn't have dementia. I want him to be aware of every minute in that state-run, bottom-of-the-barrel nursing home we abandoned him in. Something happened to me in my apartment. It happened again when I was hospitalized. By AnimatedMajor 27. A quick backstory. Weird things have always acquired in my apartment. I posted a few years ago about something that happened with my partner being in my apartment, going to the restroom and slamming the door angrily, only to have him walk through the front door a few minutes later. You can't escape from the bathroom window. There were bars on it, and the neighbors would have heard the commotion. Also, having things end up in a random spot, like my cell phone on the stove, cabinets wide open, remote that was next to me a minute ago ended up on the table, etc. Yes, I have a carbon monoxide detector that works. No, I don't have a history of mental illness like schizophrenia, nor does my family, because everyone had asked that in the story years ago. I was recently hospitalized this year from surgery that was supposed to be a safe procedure that people heal quickly from. After the surgery, I went through a traumatic experience. But what made the recovery worse was remembering what happened in my apartment a few years earlier. About 3, almost 4 years ago, I had a day off from school, so I was just relaxing at home watching a movie on Netflix. I went to the bathroom, came back out to the living room, and halfway through, I was pretty much blinded by a bright light, and it stunned me to where I couldn't move at all. Just stand still in my tracks. I heard an extremely loud yet muffled voice, and I felt like I couldn't breathe, but like if someone or something else was breathing for me because my chest was expanding so much, but I know I wasn't inhaling/exhaling. Then I heard a loud voice. Okay, it's going up. Then I come to and scream out loud, "What the F?" I had to sit down on the couch and just grasp what happened. It was the middle of the day, so I know I wasn't sleeping, and I know how sleep paralysis feels like. So now, years later to after my surgery. A few hours afterwards, they gave me a small meal, broth and jello, to eat. In the middle of eating, I start feeling weird, extremely weak and tingly, and thankfully there are 2 of my nurses in front of me typing up my notes, and I tell them something is wrong. I lay back a bit and feel my arm droop, and I hear one of them say, "I'm calling it." They lower my bed, and I'm getting weaker and sleepier. I see more hospital staff run in, and one of them asks me, "What are you looking at?" to me, as I look up at the bright light above the hospital bed. Then I start feeling my throat close up, and I begin freaking out, gasping for air, and a nurse starts pumping me with air manually. I start to feel less tingly and breathe better on my own, and I hear someone say, "Okay, it's going up now." I was told in the ICU that during the surgery they severed an artery and I lost almost 7 pints of blood. I'm grateful I didn't die. But did I have a premonition, glitch, etc. of what happened years ago? A month ago? The witness said he had a wife and 8 kids, the detective said softly. But as he stared at the tiny limbs stacked in the murder guy's freezer, he realized exactly what he'd misunderstood. My House Key Isn't My House Key by CommanderSmokeStack. I don't have an explanation for this one. Basically, for the last 5 years, I've had a key ring with only 3 keys on it. I had my car key, my house key, and the extra key to my kid's truck. About 1.5 years ago, I added a Lego minifig keychain. Otherwise, it's been the same 3 keys for the last 5 years. I use it almost every day. I've taken it all over the world with me when I travel because I use it to get into my house when I get home. I used it to get into my house last night. I had to pop out this afternoon, grabbed my keys, wallet, and phone, locked up, and left. When I get home, I try to use the key to unlock my front door. And it didn't work. I tried the door lock and the deadbolt, same key. And no luck. So I popped open the garage door to use the other door to get into the house. That door was locked, same key. And the key didn't work. So at this point, I was pretty dumbfounded because the one house key on my key ring isn't working. Eventually I was able to get into the house through my window, so I got that going for me. Key still doesn't work. I found and tested my spare key and it works. Key on my keychain sorta looks like my spare key. It's the same type of key, but it has a slightly different notches. Consequently, I'm a little weirded out that the house key on my keychain isn't my house key. Edit. The key pattern on the house key attached to my keychain and the spare key that works are different. Edit. I wasn't clear in my post or in my edit. The key on my keychain and the spare that works are 2 different keys with 2 different patterns. The difference isn't where. The key on my keychain has a shorter pattern than the one that works on the house. Update September 1st. Yo, I wanted to post an update since the comments keep rolling in and I have some time to post some info. Here's some pictures of the keys for the folks that are asking. Picture 1 and 2, which are on screen right now. The top key for both pictures is a spare key that works. The bottom key is what I thought was my regular house key. You can see that the bottom key has a ton more wear, has a different cut, and is from a different batch of keys. I still don't know what the bottom key is for since it doesn't work on any locks in my house. As a quick refresher for those who are reading the update, the house key bottom was the only key on my keychain that wasn't a car key. It has been on that chain for 6 years. The day before the day in discussion, it worked to get me into the house. The day in question, I went to get a burger at a restaurant. The key worked when I left. The keys, house key, truck key, and car key, were only out of my pocket when they were in the ignition to my car. At the restaurant, I sat at the bar, and the keys stayed in my pocket. No one sat next to me at the bar, and the only person I interacted with was the bartender on the other side of the bar. I sat at the bar to eat because I was out solo and didn't want to take up a table. After eating, I came home, and the key didn't work in any locks. Eventually, I was able to make it inside the house. I found my spare key, which works, compared it to the keys, and found the keys to be different. Could someone have swapped my keys? Possible, but extremely unlikely. Keys were in my possession or locked up in my house for the whole period of this occasion. Could someone have broken in and swapped my keys? Again, possible, but extremely unlikely. I live in a secluded HCOL in a very safe area in a very small house where you can hear everything. All the doors and windows in my house are loud AF. It is extremely doubtful that anyone got into my house in the time period where this occasion happened. Moreover, it's even less likely they got in, took the key off the ring, replaced it with a similar key, and got out quietly. There is nothing in this house that is interesting enough for someone to implement that kind of scheme, especially given the fact that I'm usually here since I work from home, and there are much better targets in my neighborhood. Are the locks changed? Yeah, not only are they getting changed today, but I'm also moving to a new home one town over. The decision to move was made months ago and has nothing to do with this weird key that showed up. Thank you for all those who were worried about my safety. I am perfectly fine and safe here in my quiet bungalow until I move. The only rule was no eating the apples. After seeing what Adam had done to poor Lilith, Eve would have eaten the whole tree to escape this paradise. Things are disappearing around me again. I think another glitch is coming. By nytngale. Long-time lurker, first-time poster. Before anyone asks, I don't think anyone's stealing from me or breaking in when I'm not home. I don't think my cleaning lady, kid, or partner would take this stuff and move it as a sick joke. And I don't think I have early onset dementia or anything like that. And no, I'm not OCD. I just know where my stuff is and learned at a really, really young age to have a place for everything. And everything in its place. I've always been a bit sensitive. Although not a firm believer in the supernatural, I do think the multi-world theory is the least plausible. The one where there are multiple universes running concurrently that sometimes overlap or intersect. Sometimes weird things happen to me, around me, and I've just largely learned to accept it and move on. When I was younger, I would have dreams about people who other people said simply did not and never did exist. I know stuff before it happened, or remember stuff that I could have never known. I found lost stuff easily, and sometimes weird things happened where stuff I knew had just disappeared forever. I had lots of memories of things people swear never happened. Parents and sibs chalked it up to an overactive imagination of a highly creative and a bit odd child. I never quite felt in step with reality, but largely learned to deal with it and keep my trap shut about the stuff I had experienced, since it tended to weird people out. So, when the chance came up a couple of years ago, I took a leap of faith and bought the house I grew up in as a kid and moved home. The house was exactly as I remembered it, down to the smell of the hard wood and the wood-stained smell. There were a few remodeling things that hadn't been done, but for the most part I can still walk through the house with my eyes closed, knowing how many steps it takes to get from one part of the house to another. I found myself feeling peacefully mentally for the first time in a long time. I also tend to be a bit meticulous about where I put things. Items seem to be disorganized to other people, but there's a logic sense and an order to where things go. However, more recently, I have felt that weird pressure that I used to feel when things just weren't in sync. and now things are disappearing around me. A few weeks ago, I made a stew called bagot, which is a conglomeration of meats, vegetables, which I always cook in a tall aluminum stew pot. It takes hours to make, so I only do it in a big batch, 3 or 4 times a year, and freeze the rest. This time was significant because I was making it for a special occasion. When the cooking was done, the pot went into the sink to soak. My cleaning lady comes on Tuesdays and Fridays to help with certain tasks like washing up and sweeping/mopping. She remembers washing the pot because she had to scrub a little burnt-on stuff off the bottom. I know the pot was put away because I put it away myself after my helper washed out the pan. It went on the pot rack with a lid on top, just like it should. I went to grab the pot the other day to make a big batch of spaghetti sauce, and the entire pot is missing. The lid for it is right where it should be, but the pot is gone. We've searched everywhere for it, and it's nowhere to be found. It's even bothering my cleaning lady because I asked her if she knew where it went, and she can't find it anywhere either. Next, stuff seemed to go missing from my bathroom medicine cabinet. I keep small pill bottles with labels on them for over-the-counter medicines so they stay organized. It's nothing expensive, just basic things like over-the-counter acetaminophen, nothing with a Benadryl, think Claritin, migraine pills, diuretic medicine, ibuprofen, on-the-shelf stuff. I actually have everything in a specific place because if I need something, I know just where to go for it. Several bottles of over-the-counter medicines are gone, not empty. Just gone, empty space in the cabinet. I asked my partner to come look tonight, and he also said that there is stuff missing because there's no empty space in the cabinet usually. And aside from him, me and my cleaning lady, there's basically never anyone in the house. Kid comes home occasionally to do laundry, but there's no reason for the kid to take the whole bottle of aloe vera cooling gel from the cabinet. Later, I find this stuff in places that I never would think that I would put/move them. Again, the cleaning lady and the partner/kid would have zero reason to move this stuff to weird places I've been finding it. Every time I've experienced this kind of glitches, it's super weird. Thank you for listening.
Ask Reddit. Be honest with us now. What are y'all's body count?
I kinda stopped counting after burying the first 100. I went to a toilet that doesn't exist by AnnemaBrie. This happened about 2 years ago, but it's still on my mind a lot. So I decided to make a post about it. I understand if you don't believe me. I wouldn't believe this if it didn't happen to me either. I was spending a day with my friend in a city. I had to go use the toilet, but because of COVID, I couldn't go anywhere. Luckily, there was an ice cream store that said I could use theirs if I bought a cone. It was at the end of the store. I had to use the stairs, the girl behind the counter said. So I walked to the store. There was a part that was sort of an indoor garden. I saw a spiral staircase that I thought went to the toilet. Instead of the toilet, I ended up being in a Chinese restaurant, which was pretty weird and unexpected. Still, no toilet. I saw a door to my right and figured that's where the toilet had to be. It ended up being a stairwell where the stairs that go back to the ground floor were closed off with traffic cones and tape, so the only way was to go up. Because my bladder was almost bursting and I was kind of curious where I was going, I took a chance and walked up the stairs. When I opened the door, I ended up in the middle of the kitchen, which was weird. Who has a stairwell to the middle of a kitchen? Everyone was running around and no one really noticed me, so I went back to the stairwell and went another floor up. That's when I noticed how many floors there were. It felt really weird to me because the building was hella old and couldn't have had more than 3 floors. I was on the 4th floor, and I kind of felt like something was off at that moment. I opened the door, and this floor was really creepy. There was writing on the walls in a language I had never seen before. It kinda looked like hieroglyphics, but smoother. There were 2 doors with symbols on them, one male and one female, I presumed. But I couldn't figure out which one was which since I didn't understand these symbols. I needed to pee real bad, so I just took a chance and picked a door. When I opened it, I felt really weird because it was just an empty room. No sink, no mirror, just a room leading to another door. I remember thinking what a waste of space it was and why the hell someone had designed it like that. The next door led to a room with a sink and a mirror, and another door which finally led to a toilet. As I sat down and reviewed my entire journey to the toilet, it didn't make sense to me at all. I had been walking around in an old, medium-sized ice cream shop for about 10 minutes, looking for their toilet. How is that even possible? A possibility is that I ended up in an entirely different building, but how did I switch buildings so easily? I never tried to open a door or anything, and the building definitely wasn't this high when I saw them from the outside. I kinda started to freak out, so I texted my friend that was waiting for me at the entrance of the store. When I was done peeing, I opened the door and ended up in the sink room again. When I opened the door to that room, my heart dropped. I ended up in the hallway again. The empty room I walked in through was gone. I really started to hurry back because I felt like I was going insane. 1 floor down, back through the kitchen, another floor down through the Chinese restaurant, which was really busy. I looked around for a while and was getting even more confused. There was a balcony with people having dinner on the side where the street was supposed to be. I never saw a balcony there before, and I have been in this city many times, so I was really stunned. I walked towards the balcony to check it out, and it got worse. Instead of the street, I saw a lake with grass and trees and such, and people walking around. In this particular city, there is nothing like that anywhere near this building. I was really stressed out at this point, so I wanted to get back to the ice cream store. I went down the spiral staircase which led me back to where my journey first began. I told my friend about this experience immediately, and he believed me because I was really distressed. The weirdest thing is, though, I had texted him 2 minutes before I got back from the toilet. It had taken me longer to walk all the way back, and I had been gone for about 6 minutes in total. The timing was way off compared to what I actually experienced. After this, I told more people about my experience in this particular store, and I talked to one guy that actually worked in the store. He said the toilet was actually in the basement and not up, and there was no way there was more than 3 floors. There was only 1 floor up as a venue you can hire connected to the ice cream store, and 1 attic which was used for storage. So I don't know what the hell happened. It still haunts me to this day. Edit, people are asking for pictures. Unfortunately, I didn't take any when it happened. However, I am planning on going back there to check out if the place still exists and if I can find the toilet again. I did find a picture of the inside of the store. You can see the little inside garden at the end of the entrance. And the picture is on screen now for you. So, 5,700 as is, he said, handing me the cash for my car. But as I began to unstrap my newborn, I felt a cold barrel press against my head, heard a click, and then his gravelly voice say, "As is." And with that, we're near the end of this video. As always, I enjoyed these stories, but the one that stuck out to me most was the key one, mostly because they had been using that key for absolute years, and all of a sudden it didn't work. And after looking at them, they are different layouts on the keys, and that's not from wear and tear, they are completely different. They're the same make of key and everything, but yeah, it's very bizarre, and of course it seems they moved out anyways, so I hope they have no more glitches. And to everyone else, I hope you all stay in your reality and no more glitches get in your way. And thank you guys for letting me read your stories. And I wanted to say I'm sorry about no video last week. It was an absolute chaotic week. My car broke down and I had to fix it. And then I got a little injured on top of all that. And it was just one of those weeks where even thinking of sitting down and trying to record was not happening. And I really do try to make sure this isn't a habit. I like to get these stories out for you once a week. I actually really enjoy doing this. Now, of course, if you enjoyed these stories as well, hit that like button and make sure it feels it. If you're new, subscribe and turn that pretty little bell to all notifications. And of course, sharing this video/podcast with anyone who might like it, this seriously helps, guys. I can't even put into words how much it helps. And if you'd like to help in other ways, I do have a Patreon where for $1 a month you get early access to all the audio. And I am working on getting the memberships up and running. I just have to get some logistics done and we'll have that as well. I'm also going to try to make it so the members get the access to the extra story every week as well. And of course, I also have merch and PayPal if you guys are interested. But I'll never expect any of this, but I will always appreciate it, guys. Now last, but never least, I would love a comment, but I gotta get you that Sunday word first. On screen right now is everyone who wrote me a sentence using the word notorious 2 weeks ago. Thank you guys as always. Seriously, I really love comments. The more, the merrier. Now, this week's word you can really write down. Well, use it to write something down. It's notebook. And I'm just picking words that I just enjoy and would love to see what you can do with. If you're someone where you can write a comment, write me a comment down below and you'll be on next week's video. If you're not, well, go to Twitter, adding242reads, and use this word in a sentence and you'll get the same. But as always, guys, thank you for watching and listening. It really means the world to me. I can never put into words how much it's been awesome to see everything grow. Sleep tight and don't let 42 bite.